Alright YouTubers, today I'll be taking you through how to set a compressor for recording vocals, and then to get a clean and standout vocal in your recording before even you talk of going to your mixing stage. So I just have Cubase open here, and then as you can see, it's just a fresh new installation from it. I'll just open a new project, and then I have an empty project. Then we asked to save my project. I have a folder that I call tutorial. I'll just save it on that folder, and then Cubase is ready. Now the first thing we need to know is you need to set your microphone first before you go ahead to add a compressor. Now the sound card I'm using is Presonus audio box, and then it's a 2-in sound card, 2 out. So that means that 2 microphones in and then 2 speakers out. So and currently I'm using 1 microphone, which I'm using for this tutorial and at the same time for the recording. So what we need to do is that we need to configure the audio input to pick the sound from only 1 in, because at this point it is going to be stereo, which is going to be both ends, left and right. And then when you add a track, then you select either is the left channel you want to use or the right channel, but we just want to set it to mono, so it will be using only 1 channel. So I'll go to my devices, then I'll come to connections on Cubase, VST connections, and then on VST connections I have input. So currently I have stereo in and I have left and right. So the left is for sound card input 1, and then the right is for input 2. So I'll remove the whole of the stereo bus, and then I'll add a new bus. Then I'll select mono. Then I'll click on OK. So now I'm using 1 mono, and then that's this input 1 for mono. If I want to change, I can hit on it, and then I'll change it to input 2. So but I want to use input 1 because my mic is connected to input 1. Then I'll close my VST connections window. Then now I can add an audio track which I'll be ready to record. Now on this audio track I've added, I have my input source, which is what mono input, which is the one I just added. So now we are going to add a compressor to my mic, and then adding a compressor to my mic, then I need to add a device. I need to open my mixer. Then on my mixer, as you can see, I'm speaking and then it's shooting on my mic. So this is where my mic input is coming from. So that means I need to put a compressor on this mic input so that I can control the dynamics of the vocal to stand out when I'm recording. And then maybe at a certain point the artist might be on a low key or a high key, so the compressor will be able to either cut on a low key or raise the vocal up on what, a low key. So to put a compressor, I will open my mixer app, and then I will switch to my insect channels, and then I have from insect 1 to insect 8. So I'm going to put it on insect 1. Then the compressors I like using are 3 compressors, so I will just take you through all of them. So the first compressor I'll show you is the Peewee Child compressor, which I have mono and stereo. Now my microphone I've set it to mono, so that means I'm going to use my mono Peewee Child plugin. So I'll hit on mono, and then it loads the Peewee Child plugin, and then this is the Peewee Child. So now I can set my input gain, my threshold, and then my time consistent, and then the output gain, and so forth. And then I can also set the amount of noise that I want to mix in the vocals to make it stand out. So but I have a preset that I like using. This preset, it makes the vocal stand out in the mix. So what I want to do is that I want to use that particular preset for this tutorial. So I'll go to load, and then I have West Coast vocal. If I hit on West Coast vocals, now this is the settings for West Coast vocal. Now the input I have here is 12, and then my threshold is around 3.4, and then time consistent is 1, and then my output is set to 0. And then the amount of noise gain that should make the vocal warm is set to 50 Hz. But for now I want to turn it off. Later on I can do that with another plugin. Is that okay, to give warmness to the vocal? So for now I'll not like that warmness to be on it, so I'll turn it off. And this is the settings I want for my vocal. Now After setting it to that, I'll come to the microphone and then also reduce the microphone by -3 again. So at this point, no matter how hard the artist shouts, it will not pass this threshold, and the compressor will also be working at the moment it gets to what, a negative the moment it gets to 12 on this, it will hit it and cut it off, and then you have a clean vocal recording. So that is my first compressor that I use, the Pee Wee Child compressor, and it's very good for vocals recording. And my next compressor is in dynamic CLA 76 mono. We have stereo and mono, so CLA 76 mono, and there's the mono plugin that I also use for vocal recording. And I always use them based on the artist. If I have an artist that that has a low key, very low, who finds it very difficult to sing, CLA 76 pulls vocal out a lot. So what I do is that I use CLA 76, and then I use Pee Wee Child if I have a good artist who knows what he's doing, who stands to the microphone and vocal stands out. I use the Pee Wee Child. So on this CLA 76, you have another preset that I like a lot, and then that preset is also in blue, and then that is in your face vocal. Now when I pick in your face vocal, then I have my input as 24, and I have my output as 18, and then I have my attack as 4, and then I have my release as 7, and then I have my ratio as 4, and then I have my analog noise, which I'll turn it off again from this, and then the rest of my settings is okay. So as you can see, the compressor working here, and then it's also working here too as well. So you record, and then you have a clean vocal, and then you have no problem with that. Then my next the last compressor that I'll be talking about is this compressor, the R compressor. Yeah, the R compressor. I have the R compressor here, mono R compressor. Now this is my R compressor. The R compressor, this is how I set mine. I always leave my threshold at -18. -18 is my threshold, and then my ratio, I always leave it as 0.5 as my ratio, and then the attack, I leave the attack very fast, which is 1, and then my release at 40. My release as 40. So this is the settings that I use for R compressor, and it depends on vocals. Is that okay? It depends on vocals. Sometimes I can tweak it a little bit depending on the vocals. So I'll do a trial recording for you to see the different types of compressors and then how they work, and then you can always make a choice between the 3 compressors, which one to use for your vocal recording. So I'm going to start with the Pee Wee Child, and then we'll record. So I have this as my Pee Wee Child compressor. I'll add another 2 audio tracks, so 2 and 3. So first Pee Wee Child, so we go with the recording. So I hit on the recording button, and then I'll give a few songs of lyrics. Is that okay? But please don't worry about my vocal. I know my vocal is not good, but I'll just record it for the sake of training purpose. Is that okay? Yeah, so let's go. All right, I say marriage no be force, marriage no be force, marriage no be force, marriage no be force. So that is the first lines of lyrics that I'm just recording. So as you can see how it's recording it, so that is one way or the other. So I'm done with the Pee Wee Child. Let's go to the this in CLA 76 compressor to see how that one also records. So I'll stop the recording now. So now my recording is stopped, so I'll move to my next compressor, CLA 76. So let me bring my mixer up, then I'll turn off Pee Wee Child, then I'll go to CLA 76. Okay, so I'm going to start recording the Make I tell you waiting day for man. Sorry for the previous recording. Let me mute that one so that we can't record this one. Make I tell you waiting day for my mind. Make I tell you waiting day for my head. Make I tell you waiting where they bust my head, yo. Make I tell you waiting pop for my head. I say marriage no be force. I say married no be force. So that is the CLA76 compressor that I have too as well. So now comparing the two of them, as you can see their waves level. So let me just finish with the third one and then we compare them all together. So the third one, my mixer up again, then off, and then I have my R compressor now. Then I record. Make I tell you waiting day for my mind. Make I tell you waiting day for my head. Make I tell you waiting where they bust my head, yo. Make I tell you waiting pop for my head. I say married no be force. I say married no be force. I say married no be force, yeah. I say married no be force. Now, comparing the three compressors, as you can see, their waves level. We have recorded, and then this the waves level, as you can see them. So you listen to the three vocals, and then you can now tell which of them you prefer to use, which of the three compressors. After listening to the three vocals, you'll be able to determine which particular compressor you should use at a particular time, and then that will give you the best vocals that you need. So these are the three compressors, as you can see. So you can see the level of the compression level of the Pee-wee Child, and then CLA76, and then the R compressor. So guys, these are the compressors I use for recording my vocal more times, and they are my chain that I use is, I have a mixing chain and I have a recording chain, and then this is the chain that I use on compressor. If there's a need for me to show you an EQ on a vocal, maybe if I'm recording a vocal and I realize that there's a boxy sound in it and I want to cut it at the recording level even before I record, and then I can use an EQ and then let the artist mix a trial recordings, and then I can set the EQ to cut those areas first before the artist goes ahead to do the recording. So if there's a need, my next tutorial, watch out for using an EQ on a vocal to cut certain areas before you start recording. Thank you for watching, and guys, if you like my tutorial, give me a thumb up by subscribing to my channel, like my videos.
Yeah, hey, Da-viruz, Chief Entertainment Officer, Massive Mix. Slim. Make I tell you waiting day for my mind. Make I tell you waiting day for my head. Make I tell you waiting where they bust my head, yo. Make I tell you waiting pop for my head. I say married no be force. I say married no be force. Married no be force, yeah, yeah. Married no be force.
Many girls they tryna be my wife. Plenty girls they tryna be my bride. But this girl she took my heart away. Yeah, that girl she do me slip. 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 Ooh yeah.
So I say, you better watch your steps. So I say, make you take time for this life, yeah, yeah. You better watch that girl. You better watch that girl, yeah. I say, married no be force, yeah, yeah. Married no be force. I say, married no be force. Married no be force, yeah, yeah. Married no be force.
That girl she do me slip. That girl she do me slip. That girl she do me slip. slim. That girl, she do me slim. That girl, she do me slim, slim, slim. That girl, she do me slim.
लड़की का हो तुम, लड़की का हो तुम, मैं और तुम शादी राज और कल.
If you know the way you go marry Pole, my brother you go suffer dole. If you talk am one, she talk am two. Every night don't let you do. If you no do, she call you fool. Skerere, who do you? If you talk am one, she talk am two. Every night don't let you do. If you no do, she call you fool. Skerere, who do you?
Married no be force, married no be force, married no be force, married no be force.